probably are going to look very familiar. They are 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade standards. Bless you. Bless you. Similar to multiplying and adding and dividing like we did last week, I cannot teach you fractions if we don't have these skills. LCM and GCF have to be almost fluent. Bless you. If I say find the LCM of 2 and 3, you should say 6, and it should be about 2 seconds. If you're not there yet, we'll get there with sprints and with some work in the future. Aiden, desk down. The greatest common factor is kind of like the LCM, but just the reverse. And we get to create this beautiful birthday cake. When you're asked to find the greatest common factor, or GCF, you're going to make yourself a nice cake. And this is like a cake, but it's kind of like if you give my 3-year-old daughter who had a birthday party on Saturday a cake, she automatically just like flips it upside down and just starts demolishing it. She doesn't like leave it there to look really nice and pretty. And so we're gonna flip this cake upside down. And you're gonna think in your head, to find the GCF, what number could divide evenly into both 8 and 12? What divided by 8 would work that also works for being divided by 12? I'm thinking in my head, and the easiest place to start for me is try 2. Well, does 8 divided by 2 give me a whole number? Does that work? Yeah, that's 4. Does 12 divided by 2 also work as a whole number?
Yes.
Yeah, that's 6. Okay, so let's just do that. 2 is the easiest place to start. And once I do that, I get the number 4. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. What was 12 divided by 2? 6. Okay. Cool. So you just simplified this. We divided both by 2. Now I'm left with 8 divided by 2 is 4. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Okay. What is another number that could divide by 4 but also divides by 6? Henry.
2.
Let's try 2 again. 3 wouldn't work because 4 divided by 3 does not make a whole number. Okay. 4 divided by 2 is whole class?
2.
Okay. 6 divided by 2 is?
3.
Okay. Is there another number that can divide evenly by 2 and 3?
No.
No. So once I get to that place, I'm just going to stop. That is a prime number. 2 and 3 are both prime. You can make yourself a little nice candle. Happy birthday to you. Every single time this weekend, someone said happy birthday to my daughter. She's 3. She would just go into a full chorus of happy birthday to me, and she would sing it for a straight 5 minutes. And she would just sing it to herself. I'm like, I'm glad you celebrate yourself because it's kind of cute.
Mr. Mackey.
In like 10 years of getting
Happy
away.
birthday
Thank you. It's not my birthday.
to you.
No. Here's what you do for GCF. You have 2 numbers that you factored out. You factored out 2 numbers. They're on the outside. Circle them, and we're going to place them next to each other as a multiplication problem. What is 2 times 2? Did I take yours? Oh, Ashton, I apologize. It's 4. So your GCF that you're going to say is the number 4. That's the answer. You made your birthday cake, you factored, and we took both numbers. 2 times 2 together made 4. The GCF of 8 and 12 is what? 4. Let's try the same thing with some larger numbers. 21 and 35. I'll take a silent hand. Henry 1, Sean 1. Thanks for the enthusiasm, but I want to make it even and fair. What number could divide by 21 and 35? I'm starting with 2. Does that work evenly? No. What other number should I go to? Henry.
7.
Okay.
7 divided by
That works.
7
I was going to try 3, but 3 didn't work for 35.
divided by 21 would be 3.
Okay.
And then 7 divided by 35 would be 5.
Okay. Does anything divide by 3 and 5, Topanga? Does 3 divided by 5 work? That's not a whole number. So I can't do that. I'm going to end and solidify the ending with some candles. And there's only one number left. If there's only one left to the outside, that's your answer. 7 is the GCF. What's the greatest common factor of 21 and 35? It's 7. Aiden talking 2. Example 3. What's the greatest common factor of 5 and 18? Let's make a birthday cake. Something kind of funky happens. Okay, so is there a number that can divide evenly by 5 and 18?
No, nothing can divide.
I'll take a silent hand. Can we? Can you divide 5 by 18?
No.
And so there's nothing that works except for the number 1. 5 divided by 1 is 1. 18 divided by 1 is 18. That doesn't do anything because it's the same number. So if you get something that has just the number 1, you're going to say there is no GCF. Or it's just 1. You can't factor 5 and 18 to have a greatest common factor other than 1. The reason for that is 5 is called a prime number. Say prime on 2. 1, 2. It's also like the energy drink. If you're into that, it's kind of new and it's popular. But prime, before that happened, just meant that there was a number that could only be multiplied by 1 and itself. Think of another prime number. I'm thinking of the number 5. What's another number that cannot be divided by anything other than itself or 1? Sean. Topanga.
7.
Sure. 1 times 7 is 7. No other number would work to get to 7. Henry.
3.
Sure. Keep going, Sean. How about 2? 2 can't be divided by anything except for itself and 1. Henry.
37.
That's a big one, and that can't be divided by anything other than itself. Judah.
43.
Yeah, that's a big one. Let me try to think. Yeah, there's nothing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are all primes. You can have an infinite number of primes. 5 is also a prime number, sure. You can list a ton of them, and just know that if you see a prime number, it is likely that it's probably going to have just 1 or itself be the factor. Henry, one more?
11.
11 also, except for the only prime that's not odd is what? Ashton?
2.
Yeah, it's the a period 4 student actually raised their hand and said, "Did you know this fact, team? What the only prime number that's not odd is?" And I had no idea. And he told me it was 2. I was like, very intelligent. I learn something new every day, and I've been teaching for 8 years. Pretty cool stuff. Go to bronze, number 1. I'm going to cold call through this first one, then you got some independent work up to bat. Well, you might throw in a rare bird before as well. Number 1, I am asked to find the GCF of 10 and 14. How do I set this problem up? Help me out, Ashton. How would I set up the GCF of 10 and 14?
You make like an L shape.
Mm-hmm. We call it an upside down birthday cake. And once that's created, it doesn't really look like it, but you're just going to play along and be like, yeah, Mr. MacD, sure, that's a birthday cake. And what number could I factor out first? Jersey. 2 is my go-to starting point. I always try to factor a 2. And what would go inside the next column? 10 divided by 2 and 14 divided by 2 creates what? Nora.
5 and 7.
Great. And then I'm going to try to make another birthday cake. Can 5 and 7 divide by anything? No, it can't. So I'm going to stop and make some candles. What is the only GCF of 10 and 14, whole class? What's the answer? It's 2. You cannot find any other number that would factor. Be careful.